Hello, I'm Nicholas Calabrese here today for Video Waves, and today we are going to talk all about distracted driving and teens related to that. Now, today we have two very special guests to talk about this. Would you two care to introduce yourselves?
Mildred Ozoa from the City of Bethlehem Health Department.
Sergeant Darrell LaPointe from the Bethlehem Township Police Department.
Well, thank you both for being here today. I have a few questions prepared, so let's get started. Can you two describe distracted driving for me?
Distracted driving in the technical sense is any type of driving where you're not totally focused on the road, where the eyes are on the road, hands at 10 and 2, just operating the pedals and leaving the hands on the wheel. And I believe Mildred will go into some types of distracted driving.
Sure. Different types of distracted driving are talking on your cell phone, texting, eating, drinking, working your GPS system. Something as simple as just changing your radio station is a distraction.
Now, what are some ways you think teens could eliminate these distractions from their driving?
Pretty much putting their full attention on driving, not letting nothing divert their attention. If they have a cell phone device, maybe putting it in the glove compartment or in the center console. If someone else is in the car, maybe having them in charge of changing the radio station or answering the cell phones.
Okay. Now, unfortunately, teens don't always listen to these kinds of suggestions, so what are some of the consequences of distracted driving?
Well, if they choose to use their cell phone, there's always the chance of having a crash. And with crashes comes injuries, fatalities, there's fines, they can possibly lose their license.
I feel like texting and driving is one of the bigger issues. Going into that, is it true that police cannot track texting while driving? It's commonly believed.
Yes, there is no truth to that. I mean, I guess I kind of began that answer the wrong way, that if the crash or the driving is serious enough, a police officer in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is able to seize that phone and then serve what we would call a search warrant on it to see what the last things were done on that phone, up until the crash or whatever type of driving they may have been caught with.
Now, in some of the lighter day-to-day texting while driving things, can you get a fine for texting while driving?
Yes, the actual fine is $50, but then when you add all the other costs that are associated on any citation in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, that total cost is $154.
Now, can somebody be pulled over just for texting and driving, or if you're under suspicion of that?
Absolutely. The Commonwealth now, law enforcement is coming up with some more unique ways of trying to see someone texting, and I can tell you from personal experience, all I have to do, I might be working a speed operation and see someone going down the road texting or whatever they're doing with their phone, and that's probable cause enough to be stopped in the vehicle.
Now, how can parents set a good example and ensure their teens aren't out driving and texting?
Be a good role model for your teen. Talk to them about texting and driving, the dangers that it poses. Also talk to them about the law in Pennsylvania.
Now, obviously, you have a decent amount of knowledge about distracted driving. What are some of the programs that your health bureau offers regarding distracted driving?
Well, we have a program. It's called Impact Teen Driving. It's called What Do You Consider Lethal? It's an evidence-based program. It's 60 minutes long. We go into the schools, the high schools, the middle schools. We do the presentation to the students. It's interactive, so they get involved with the program. We have what's called a probability wheel that we do with them. And what we do is we set up different scenarios of what it is to be distracted while you're in the car. So you can add how many passengers, the type of distraction, and what it does is it shows you how each distraction raises the percentage of being in a crash.
Now, would you mind sharing some of the statistics from this program with us?
Sure. In the year 2015, there's been 66 fatalities due to distracted driving, over 14,000 crashes. Now, 66 seems like a low number, but with distracted driving, it's very difficult to see if the person was distracted while they crashed. And I'm not sure, Darrell, if you can add anything to that. I mean,
just to expound on what Mildred's talking about, I know that she brought a poster today that's on the front of the table where that indicates a bunch of statistics for you regarding teens and distracted type of driving. And what she was mentioning, as I mentioned before in my answer to whether or not we can trace you being texting, when we reconstruct a crash, if there's a serious injury or a fatality, we will seize any mobile devices, anything in the car, But if there isn't anything like that in the car, is there food somewhere? Can we tell that the defroster wasn't on? You know, and that's where the statistics may be skewed as to was distracted driving actually involved? Were they looking for a street sign or the like?
Now, the next question is a little more specific to a certain distracted driving. Can you drive with earbuds in?
The answer is no. You can't drive with one or two in. The only thing you're allowed to operate with is in your ear is if it's a hearing aid, some sort of something that would enhance your hearing, or if it is what would commonly be known as a Bluetooth, where it may be attached to a hands-free device. That's the only thing that's allowed in one ear so that you can hear the rest of the traffic noise in the other.
Now, before I open up the floor to just any general stuff you two would like to say, I have one last question. Can somebody's license get revoked for texting while driving?
Well, that's kind of an open-ended question. If you are cited for that, that's not going to immediately revoke your license. But in the long run, if you rack up enough other violations, as I mentioned before, there are no points, but so many moving violations in the long run, could someone get it revoked? But the real answer is more than likely no, because you're not just going to get it revoked for that texting.
Okay, now would either of you like to add anything before we close up today?
Pretty much, the distracted driving, the crashes are 100% preventable. So it's important for everyone to make the better choice and not be distracted while they're driving. There's no phone call, there's no text that's more important than the safety of yourself and others.
And like Mildred's saying, we all, gun safety and everything else, but keep in mind that, not to be doom and gloom, but a vehicle is a 3,000-pound weapon if it's not used properly. So that's why when you're in a vehicle, you have to make sure that you're focused, just like anything else in school, you're focused on your schoolwork. Be focused on your driving, get to your destination, and then, like Mildred said, then pick up the phone. Do that text, call to check in with mom and dad.
Well, thank you both very much for coming today, and thank you to everybody who's tuning in.